Is that both?
Go get it, Monica.
Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you for the beautiful music, Allison. Well, anyway, she was the Carol around it. And thank you all for joining us today to celebrate our dear Carol. I know how much she loved you all. And Kathleen is going to share some history about Carol. And for those of you who might not know all the history, Carol lived an amazing life. And her experiences are illuminating in terms of understanding what made Carol Carol. I will then share some thoughts after Kathleen from her family and my thoughts, and then we'll proceed with the rest of our speakers as you see on the program. And anyone else, even those who aren't on the program, note cards, if you think of a funny story with Carol or a great memory, please come up and share that with us. I think everyone will appreciate it. And then we'll be followed by food and drink and more celebration of one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever had the privilege to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Seema. And I don't know if you all know Seema, but Seema's a very, very close friend of Carol's. And they've known each other since Miranda was 5. So that's, what, 13 years? So Seema was instrumental in this happening. I wouldn't have done it without her help. So she made it quite possible. I'm forever grateful to you for all your hard work. And we really tag teamed on this, right, from when we first on. So, anyhow, so I'm gonna read a little bio about Carol. And to be honest, please be forgiving. I haven't practiced it much, so it's gonna be an impromptu delivery of her bio. But her sister Tracy drafted it, and then Sandy, close friend for a long, long time. Sam and I kind of worked on all putting it together. So Carol was born on June 12, 1955, the first of 4 children, Claude, who was called Bucky, and Eleanor, who was called Red, named in southwestern Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. Her mother instilled in her a love for books, and Carol was able to read by the age of 3. When she was 8, her family moved to Butler, Pennsylvania, where she then lived until she went off to college. From an early age, Carol was a positive and easygoing, but feisty, strong-willed girl. And others have described her as an old soul, mature beyond her years, both with a wicked sense of humor to boot. Is it better when I hold it like this? Like this? Step away from this.
Yeah, Kathleen.
You got it.
Just hold it out. Hold it out.
Is that better?
Yes.
Carol always achieved straight A's, and thus was selected in 5th grade. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm new to mics. I'm used to sitting in a therapy room and I'm talking to one person. Getting myself right. Carol always achieved straight A's, and thus was selected in 5th grade to attend, still doing it, an advanced education program. Much to Carol's delight, she was able to learn more about the world in those 2 years than in any other years of public school education. She returned to public school in 7th grade, I come in handy.
Where do you get that from?
I don't know, who do I get it from, Kevin? My brother, my little brother.
Same person.
Anyhow, I've never needed a mic my whole life. All right. So when she, let's see here. I forget what it was. Much to Carol's delight, she was able to learn more about the world in those 2 years at her advanced education program than in any other year of her public school education, probably her college education also. Carol returned to public school in 7th grade, where she met her best friend Sandy at the age of 12, who Sandy had remained a constant close companion in her life, sharing that Carol was a once-in-a-lifetime friend. Sandy, where are you? Right there. So, anyhow, let's see here. Carol continued her advanced education with many AP classes in math, science, language, and English literature. Carol, as well as Sandy, attended the University of Pittsburgh, where Carol achieved an undergraduate degree in psychology with a full tuition scholarship, followed by an MBA. After graduation, Carol worked in Pittsburgh as an entry-level programmer for the CompuGuard and Mary Jo Johnson, a friend since high school. In the early 1980s, they decided to move to San Diego, where Sandy was already working and living. Bill and Carol were married for 20 years, remained good friends, and kept in touch until their death. With the move to San Diego, Carol continued working for CompuGuard, who was a pioneer at the time in using computers to control heating, air, and light. Can you imagine? Their biggest customer was the city of San Diego. Back then, it was all manual. After a brief stint at General Dynamics, Carol moved to Megatech, where Sandy was already working. It was at Megatech that Carol met Debbie, and whom she later married in 2008. They all helped develop high-end computer graphics for CAD systems, and as Sandy tells me, it was even before PCs could do high-end graphics. Carol eventually made her way to Qualcomm after leading a project team working a zillion hours in the initial development of GPS. Carol retired from her position as a director at Qualcomm at the age of 49. Well, Carol was not all work and no play. She had many hobbies over the years, involving the arts, dance, and writing, dance, and exercise. She also became a docent at the San Diego Museum of Art, which was a huge undertaking. And she made many lifelong friends doing that training program. It's like taking a college class, from what I'm told. This was cut short by Carol generously stepping up to take care of her infant nephew, Michael, when his mom, Kathleen, needed a heart transplant. The woman who had avoided babies her whole life discovered that she loved children of all ages and decided to become a foster mom. Her next and greatest achievement after retirement was to foster several children and to adopt her son Brandon, who was the love of her life. Her dedication to motherhood at 50 was striking and enlightening. In 2017, Carol opened her home even further by taking care of her mother, Red, for the next 3 years. Red, Carol was amazing with her mom, who had suffered several strokes. She worked diligently to help her mom to rehabilitate, even with her being able to play hand and foot again, favorite card game of the family. And of us. Life was not always kind to Carol on her life journey. Some of the challenges she weathered were being hospitalized for 9 months and almost near death at the age of 17, until a resident MD discovered the source of her heart disease or heart infection. At age 60, Carol underwent a heart valve replacement as a result of the damage from her illness at age 17. As you all know, Carol was diagnosed last year in April with ovarian cancer. Her attitude from day one to her last day was absolutely amazing, and I can speak to that. She was totally accepting of her life being shortened and made the most of every moment she had positivity, humility, acceptance, and grace. Her greatest regret was not getting to see Brandon fully launch. A month before she died, she actually went to her nephew's wedding in Austin and danced and partied, and she gave it her all. It's just incredible what she did that month before. In February 2019, Carol and I met at a foreign film at the Dove Library. It's funny, because when we tell people in a noisy environment we met at a foreign film, they think we said porn. That was always our greatest joke. We just happened to sit next to each other at the Dove Library and discovered how much we had in common. It was incredible. She had lived with Bill like 2 blocks from my house, and you know, it just went on and on from there in terms of how much we had in common. So it was quite incredible as we got to know each other, and we hit it off very quickly. Carol wanted to do everything quicker than I was comfortable with, moving in, finances, marriage. I said yes, but not now, too soon. A month after we met, she offered to take me on a trip around the world in a small jet. I thought she was nuts. But I consulted with 3 friends, 2 of whom are here, and they all said, "What the hell, go." Unfortunately, the trip was canceled because of the pandemic. But I had agreed to go, and she had even offered a separate room in case things didn't work out. It was incredible. She blew my mind. You know? That was just an example of her incredible generosity, was that offer. So Carol and I, I'm moving on now. So Carol and I were doing great. And then this thing called pickleball came along. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, to where she was organizing multiple games, many days a week. So her part-time job, I told her she had a part-time, it was almost a full-time job. Part-time job was organizing pickleball games. And she loved playing, as well as organizing. She'd tell me I have to get the right mix of players. She matched up the teams that they played. I was an official pickleball widow. She created an amazing community that has also welcomed myself into their events and their hearts. One of her dearest friends and earliest players during the pandemic was Kathy Kirk, who sadly passed away a year ago. So we're very sad for Kathy. It was quite a shock. I'm sorry, a month ago. That's right. So thank you. Passed away. So we hold a special place in our hearts for her as well as Carol. So the good news is that, thank God, Carol didn't only love pickleball. And not only to play unless she wanted to lose. I called her my social coordinator. We enjoyed a lot of theater, music, art, travel, loads of games with Sandy and Bruce, including learning Chinese mahjong. Carol loved to eat, always scoping out the newest, best restaurants. She followed the Michelin list. But she especially enjoyed Sandy's gourmet cooking at our weekly game day, where Sandy often prepared Carol's favorite foods. At home, Carol was a voracious reader, belonging to many book clubs and owning hundreds of books. Carol enjoyed extensive travel, and truly enjoyed traveling and planning with friends, family, and spouses. She was also quite the foodie, and there wasn't anything she wouldn't try. Even those insects they sell in little packets. She loved to tell the story of what happened when Brandon brought packets of worms to school after one trip. There were more than a few upset parents. Who got called. I can't remember the specifics, but I know that it was a problem. They were all fine. Nobody got sick or anything. But most of all, Carol was the most positive, generous, fun-loving, cultured, and passionate person I've ever met. She taught me of the covering Eeyore, that's the blue donkey and the recovering Eeyore, how to be more positive, especially when the going gets rough. This past year, when she was so ill, but still positive, 98% of the time, I'm so grateful that we became so much closer and got to know each other on a deeper level. Carol, I was always happy with my heart. And I also also want to say, because I didn't exactly get to finish writing this, that she got really, really close to my girl, so we're gonna talk in a minute, and just, she wanted a bigger and bigger family. She welcomed in Andy, and just so many friends and people, and I hope you get to hear from a lot of those people. So, but yeah, Carol was on. Thank you.
Should I try it without the mic? Can all hear me? Okay. So I'm going to say a few words myself, but I wanted to express something that the Carol's family, Tracy, Scott, the other, Brad, and she was from a family of 4, so it was a big family. She still wanted to be a family, right? That's Carol and her love. But this is what they wanted to say. We deeply miss our sister every day. Sometimes we smile. She was magnificent. Sometimes we cry. Her early death was tragic. We hope that her beautiful outlook on life is rubbed off on all who knew her. We are glad to know Carol's dearest, sweet, and devoted friends and family are meeting today in honor of her to celebrate her life. Carol will remain in our hearts and our children's hearts with love forever. So that was from the family. And then, excuse me if I get verklempt, because I did when I wrote this, but I'm here. So, Carol came into my life when my youngest son, Finn Burke, started first grade at Encinitas Country Day. For those of us who are from CBS and PRS, we all know this. Brandon and Finn became fast friends, and so of course, Carol and I naturally did as well. What we didn't know then was how much joy, intellectual discourse over politics, the meaning of life, religion, films, books, and children, shared laughter over witty and sometimes raunchy banter, and occasionally tears, we would share over the next 13 years. Though Carol Rose retired, when I met her, I could share my work with her, and always knew she would understand and have helpful feedback to guide me in my career, or just mirror when I complained about work politics. Field trips with the kids, beach days, pool days, parties, dinners out, plays, or coffee, and just talking on the phone for an hour, not realizing where the time went. All were platforms for creating so many treasured memories of Carol and our friendship. Watching Brandon grow up with Finn and seeing both our handprints in the concrete at our home are constant reminders of the love and trust between our families, and we feel blessed to have Brandon in our lives as well. I used to joke with Carol that because of the zen and patience with which she approached everything in her life, and if you knew Carol, you knew that was her. I joked that she lived more lives than me. She lived more lives than me. And I started approaching sticky situations with the thought of, what would Carol do? And I have to tell you, you gotta try it. It really works. Carol will forever leave an indelible, beautiful mark of love on my mind and heart. I consider Carol as a sister from another mister, and I miss her very much. Until I see you in our next lifetimes, Carol, love you so much. The next person who's going to share some sweet sentiments is Becca Brown, which is Kathleen's daughter and stepdaughter to Carol.
Hi. So Carol was my stepmother, and we immediately connected over a shared love of literature and poetry, and so I wanted to read a poem. It's also in the back of the program if you want to follow along. So Mary Oliver. Roses, late summer.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What happens to the leaves after they turn red and golden and fall away? What happens to the singing birds when they can't sing any longer? What happens to their quick wings Do you think there is any personal heaven for any of us? Do you think anyone, the other side of that darkness, will call to us, meaning us? Beyond the trees, the foxes keep teaching their children to live in the valley, so they never seem to vanish. They are always there in the blossom of light that stands up every morning in that dark sky. And over one more set of hills, along the sea, the last roses have opened their factories of sweetness and are giving it back to the world. If I had another life, I would want to spend it all on some unstinting happiness. I would be a fox or a tree full of scraping branches, every minding a rose in a field full of roses. Fear has not yet occurred to them, nor ambition, reason they have not yet thought of. Neither do they ask how long they must be roses, and then what, or any other foolish question.
Hello, I'm Cody, Kathleen's daughter and Carol's stepdaughter. Thank you all for coming. Some of my fondest memories are of visiting with moms on weekends. The quality time that we would spend and living so close to them we truly treasured. During my sleepovers, we would play Mexican train dominoes, sometimes until the wee hours of the morning. Sometimes I would win, and both my moms would comment on how lucky I was. I think what I didn't realize then was how lucky I actually was. To have true unconditional love from not just my parents, but a step-parent. She saw both my sister and I as her daughters, and it meant the world to me. Mama C, or Mom, as I lovingly referred to her, had a passion for many things, two of which were eating delicious food and watching movies. And something we both bonded with right away. During Oscar season, my moms and I would try to watch all of the Oscar-nominated films, and I watched them with them as well. Those times at their home or at the Landmark Theater in Hillcrest was my favorite because I spent laughing, crying, being able to talk about what we liked, learn what feelings came up for us was so refreshing. Something I noticed right away with Carol was how she and my mom were both loud. This loud, boisterous laugh that was contagious. That was Carol, bringing joy and laughter to so many people. She welcomed my mom, myself, and my sister into her family with her friends. She accepted everyone as they were without any kind of judgment. I miss her so much. I think about her every day and how much of a blessing it was to have her. Thank you.
Leave the next person. No girl writing your stories down to come up later. Edie. Can you hear me? No.
Yes. I'll walk up.
Okay, so I've known you, Carol, for almost 30 years, since the day that I met you. And she was in our life constantly since then. We went through the iterations of her life, but the constant was, the most important was laughter. You didn't have a sense of humor, you know. And woman, she was a software engineer, and wait a minute, she didn't have a software engineering degree. Okay? And this was at Walmart. She was the real deal, and I can't do it, but all of the women here probably can. That's that eye flutter. It made all of them wilt. All on made her very successful. Plus that in her binder. Come in. No. We agreed that on this date, we would put it like this. And then she laughed. She liked to win. She loved the competition of games. And she loved to act like you had a chance. Whatever the game, you know. You're good, you're doing something, I'm so sorry. Then all of a sudden, oh, I'm so sorry I beat you. Yeah, it's too bad. You know, and I think the coolest thing is I met Bill. I don't know Bill very well. I know Debbie. I've known Debbie a really long time, as long as Carol. And when she met Kathleen, she met her match. Because Carol really liked to debate. You know, she didn't like to lose even a debate. And she would talk to you and tell you either wanted to kill her or you just walked away. And Kathleen, with kindness and smile, would just continue the conversation with Carol as long as they needed to. And I don't know what the score ended up being in the end, 50-50, who knows. But Carol is such an important person in my life. And we spent many trips, many vacations, much family time. I mean, one time we had to go on a cruise with Debbie and Carol because they took their whole family, and our job was to hold the table for 25 people at dinner time. And the dinner lead would come up and say, "Are they coming?" So, you know, anyways, I love Carol very much. I'm really glad that she got to know you two so well, and I'm happy that Kathleen and all of the pickleball people that she tries to do that. But that's all.
I think we have Kim.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Hi, I'm Kim and Kimmy, and this is Annette. And we met 25 years ago. Started dating, and Annette said, "You gotta meet these two. They're the coolest chicks ever." And it was Debbie and Carol. So that started our friendship. And for a second, I'm just gonna say this. Everybody think of one word and say it. Ready? About Carol. All at once. 1, 2, 3. So, the one thing I kept thinking about was her wicked humor. And the thing I keep hearing is her howling laugh. And there were so many things we did together, all our adventures, all of our laughs. And I'll tell you one of them that stuck with me that I'm going to share here. And it could be raunchy, but it involves a dinner at Kaiser Hof. And it was myself and Annette and Debbie and Carol, and we were having dinner. And behind us, this older gentleman stands up and burps, and the entire place goes quiet. And then his young companion, he turns around and grabs her ass. And I go, "First I'm gonna burp on you, and then I'm gonna grab your ass." And Carol just howls. And this woman turns at us with like that deathly, like, "What are you doing?" You know, like, "Shut up." And we all freaked out, and they walked out, and as soon as they left, we all howled. And that was sort of the stuff that would happen, you know, just the fun and games. And so, the last time we saw Carol, 2 weeks prior to her passing, we were going to spend a couple hours with her. And as we were leaving, I gave her a big hug. I whispered I'm gonna burp on you. And then she said, and then I'm gonna grab your ass. And she did. Carol, I hope you're grabbing some asses up there and having a ball.
Okay, the last person up, but I hope there's more, is Bee. Where are you, Bee? I met Bee ages ago at a museum. And I will always remember Bee at the museum. It's been way too long since they've had this. So
Thank you.
Hi.
I think you can hear me. Yeah, I got my big voice on. My name is Eva Lassa, and I have the pleasure of knowing Carol and her family and many of you for a long, long time. Sandy and Janine and Annette and Kimmy, who I haven't seen forever and ever. You're over there. Is that a pickleball accident? Yes, it is. It's pickleball. Yeah.
But it was a winner, so I don't know.
And the accident's all Carol's fault. To pickleball, right?
It's all been said. What can we say? I would like to say to all of you a little history where Carol and I met, which was with Carolyn Dahl and Kim Rhodes, who are here with us today. We were all part of a group of 23 of us that were in the initial class at San Diego Museum of Art. Oh, I had less fun. Anyway, San Diego Museum of Art. And we dwindled down to 12. You know, it was a rigorous program to become a docent, right? There we go. And Carol was one of us. Here's the thing that we all loved about Carol. When she took a painting to research, that damn thing was research. There was stuff about Franz Hals or Diego Rivera or Nelson, anyone that she didn't know down to the nth degree. And it was always so wonderful to give her reports and then be able to be on the floor and pretend you were Carol. And we all channeled her. I am telling you, folks, I channeled her today. And I want to thank, thank you all. I want to thank Carol for letting me into her life, and we had such good times together. Picture spirit made me a little weepy. So, thank you. Good grief. See you soon. And we'll hope to see you all in the museum, and we'll pretend we're Carol.
Hey, everybody been writing on their note cards? Anyone else like to share something? Funny? Heartwarming? Come on up, Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm Debbie's brother, and my wife, she's the one who had the heart transplant, and my son is next to me. Just to give you some background, my son had been born 6 months before she needed her operation. And for me, it was really, really traumatic time. I was having a lot of issues. Fortunately, there was a support system there that I didn't even know about. And when, for those of you who don't know about organ transplants, they give you a call. And once they give you that call, they said, you have an hour and to get to the hospital. And there's no, that's the preparation that they give you. So as soon as I got the call, I was at work. I got the call, I had to go pick up Kathleen. Fortunately, my mother was there, and I took Kathleen to the hospital. And it was a long, drawn-out process. I had to stay at the hospital all night. To my embarrassment, I wasn't really thinking about Michael. But what happened was, Debbie took care of him. And he was so comfortable that later on, Carol and Debbie, through their generosity, let us stay at their house. And they found another place. They stayed, I think, at the condominium in San Diego. Anyway, what happened was, how comfortable was Michael? I remember that, Debbie and Carol were watching TV, and Michael was resting and just kind of looking and just, watching TV. I walked in, and I thought, I'm his father, he'll be excited to see me. He just kind of turns his head up. It's you. And he goes back to watching TV. That's how comfortable Debbie and Carol made them. To this day, I am very grateful for everything that Carol has done. And I just wanted to share with you the type of lovely person she was. She never sought out any gratitude or anything. She was just a loving member of the family. So I wanted to share that with you, and thank you.
I just have something quick, because I didn't know Carol for very long. But she became a member of the Goddesses, which is this group of friends that have been together for 35 years, Kathleen and a number of other people. And so we had a gathering here, and this is a nice picture that I took. And I'll be going here.
I didn't prepare anything. I said it, we do it. I have a really loud voice. Carol and I had that in common. We also had a really loud laugh, which we had in common. The first thing that came to my mind is I'm sitting in a room with really smart people. I know you guys are docents, you're engineers, you're everything. She was the smartest person I knew. And I would go to her, my daughter doesn't think I should be friends with these people because they're kind of stupid or they're kind of silly. Carol would say, but do you have fun with them? And I said, yeah, they have fun. We turn on the radio and we sing our hearts out and they let me sing. She said, then you keep seeing these people. And I would always ask her, she was my therapist like that. And I love her for it. I've known her as long as my sister to me. I've known her well. And my daughter never knew a life without her. And then I have some favorite stories about Carol. One of them's kind of recent. We went to go see a play. What was the name of that actor that was in it? Anyways, it was a play that Matthew Broderick was in it. And we went to see a play that she changed the times of the tickets, so we didn't get to sit together. She's over there, and I'm over here. And we're watching this play, and there's a lot of really dry humor in it. Needless to say, she and I were the only ones laughing. And so I would hear, ha, 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 and she would hear, and then we came out, and
her. She lived on a big wooded forest area in Oregon. She cut down a tree and sold it for $400, and that was the money to eat with and all. We were spending money there. So we went there, and we were having the greatest time. We were having, I mean, just imagine the Louvre and the cafes and everything. And my sister and I decided we were going to go to the catacombs. I love creepy things. She loves them even more than I do. There's a picture of us in the catacombs where she's looking totally happy with these bones behind us, like, you know, oh my God. And I'm standing there going, where's that roof that's made of bones? We're going to meet Carol and Debbie at a cafe afterwards, and we're starving. Everybody's starving, and we meet up and we find a place we can eat. She was a vegetarian at the time, so that was tough. We found a place we can eat, and we walk in, we sit down, we have picked out what we're going to have, and Carol goes, what's wrong, Carol? We can't eat here. We have to leave. It's too orange in here. No, I'm serious. Orange. And who was playing on the, and Elton John was playing on the radio. And we can't eat here. So we got up and we left and we found some other place.
She was environmentally sensitive.
She was environmentally, yes, she was environmentally. I was hungry. I think, is that all my funny stories that I would share?
Probably not, but.
Probably. Carol, our family has a really dark sense of humor. And Carol was one of the few people that I met in my life that got it and got every single joke. And didn't have to explain anything. And then, I want to share one other thing. I was Carol's mom's. I had the pleasure of sitting with her mom, Red, when she would go to plays and when she would travel. I would get to sit and cook for her and talk to her. She was the most wonderful person. I'm Marcy, but I was Darby to her mom. Oh, is Darby coming? Is Darby going to be here? But we had a wonderful, wonderful time together. And I remember when she was telling me that she was going to this film, and she came back and she told me she had met someone. And so I feel really special that I got to hear about you before everybody else did. And of course, we love you too, and you girls. And I got nothing else. I miss her every time I think. I would ask Carol something.
I love the prevailing theme about her sense of humor and the laugh. And the laugh resonates with me because I have a big ass laugh, and sometimes I would be embarrassed about it. I think I would watch Julia Roberts and she has that kind of laugh, and that was Carol. And we were at a party once, and we were laughing and laughing, and people were looking at me, what the hell is this doing? And little did they know how much fun we were having. I talk about her after her loss, you know, when we I do one little story, but I want to see if anyone else has anything. It can be anything. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Karen. Hopefully I can keep it together. I'm part of the pickleball clan. I met Carol, a bunch of us, I think that are here, all met her about almost 3 years ago. She, from the beginning, was an inspiration to us all. She brought a culture to pickleball within our group of kindness and love and giving each other a spirit to keep on going. I've never met anybody like Carol. If you got hard on yourself, she's like, you're doing great. She always picked you up. And it just, I have to look at my phone. She just always made, any opportunity to make a new friend, she'd pull them in and she'd take them under her wing. And she, like somebody said, she had to make the right amount of people come in the pickleball group. Well, we're 3 years in, these people that are here, and we're really good friends. We spend a lot of time together, whether we're playing pickleball, hanging out, playing games, and we have a fun Have you ever hug a little child and they give you wonderful energy? Well, Carol gave me that always. So that's all I have to say.
I want to add one pickleball thing. Carol, I know I've heard this at a pickleball party, and you guys can vouch for me. She told every person they were her favorite person to play. And I think you would figure it out at one of the parties, is that right? Am I correct? But yeah, I heard that over and over. And that is so reflective of her nature. I mean, just positive, and if there's something good to say, she said it. And I gotta tell you, I learned that from her. I needed to learn it, you know. But yeah, it was just amazing how positivity and she really brought that community together in a way that I don't think anyone else did. And I heard she did the same thing at Qualcomm, and I think she did it in her other places too. She just, even though she wasn't the person to have parties, she drew people together and she knew how to connect them and just, she was a matchmaker. She got together, what, like 4 or 5 different couples from what I heard over the years. So, you know, including some that are here. So just amazing that way. I just wanted to share that.
When she said that this was her favorite person to play with, I think she meant it at the time. Didn't she?
Totally did. Yes.
She told me all about you guys and each staff.
She was positive on everything, but she wasn't positive on Elton John, Billy Joel, music from that era, and heard her years, like nails on a chalkboard. If I listened to it, I had to do it secretly on the phone and not tell her. She hated that popular music from that era. Are there more people who want to speak? Or?
You don't even have to get up, just sit.
Please come on up. The pizza's good, warm, or hot. Oh yeah, Andy.
Share a story.
Oh, sure.
That's up to you.
Yeah, one of the reasons, Carol.
I'm now like 6-7 years out. Knowing Carol. And I'm sorry I didn't mean to be the one to cry. It's funny because I kept thinking about my favorite memories. There were so many. But there were so many sentences in it that really just made me chuckle. And I don't, so Brandon is, I'm so fortunate having been my friends. And we were working together, we had so much fun. It's been good, and I know. And so I do candy stuff and I fix things up. Anyway, Kathleen has been a long time client of mine, and then, one day she said, hey, I'm gonna send you over, my friend Carol. I said, I'm not sure. So I went over there and Carol was kind of, I was like, I don't know if she's used to having people at her house. She seemed just a little bit awkward with me being there. And, but we got through it, she was totally fine, she wasn't rude or anything like that, because, Carol was very polite and everything. I just picked up on just, she just wasn't quite sure how to.
She had to ease into you.
Yeah, she just wasn't quite sure, and, but I kept going back, so I had to keep going, she kept going back, and then you told me the other day, you said, she survived when I was in 3 years.
maybe she and Andy could work together, because Andy was doing a fair bit of repairs at our 40-year-old home, and Andy and Brandon have clicked in a way that is beyond words. And Carol was so relieved that you and he are like this. And Brandon just, I mean, what would you say, it's like a sister, an aunt, no, I don't know, but they really connected. And Carol was so relieved, especially she knew that her time was dwindling, that Andy had taken Brandon under her wing. And Brandon so looks up to her and connected with her, with you, and just adores you. And that's been a huge relief, Carol, that you could mentor him and be there for him and just be another adult for him, as well as the PRS moms and many of the other people in the community. But Andy and he just started, a few months ago, and they've really connected with folks. So really super special.
I appreciate every moment I had with you.
Can you hear me? Okay. I just want to speak about Carol I love so much. So pickleball in our house is a bad word. My daughter, I'm a pickleball person, that's why I know pickleball. My daughter and my son hate the word, it's like, where are you going? Like pickleball. All they hear all the time. But when about 3 years ago, my husband's company was doing pretty well, so he said, why don't you take a year off and figure out what you want to do? And during that time, one of my really good friends was a neighbor of Carol's. We ended up playing pickleball together, so I luckily met her. And she's the one that introduced me to Bobby Briggs and brought me over there, and I met all these amazing people through her. And Carol's just one of those people that, pickleball's a funny thing. It's like, I'd say, people might disagree, but I think it's 30% skill, who you play with, who you're compatible with, and 70% personality. It's so important to play with people that you love and enjoy playing with, right? We can all find people, but it's so important to find the right people. And Carol to me was like one of those people. When we first started playing, sometimes we needed an extra person, and she would invite Brandon to come play with us. And it was pretty funny because we're all older, and he would literally sit down and play while literally sort of he was sitting down, standing up in the ball. He played left-handed, or he played like blindfolded. He was so bored playing with us older women, but he did great. So it was fun to know Brandon too. And poor Kathleen, I remember we were playing sometimes. I think maybe you're having a colonoscopy or something like that. I got to pick up Kathleen, but pickleball was more important. And that was one of the moments, I think. It was not, I'm like, Carol, are you sure you have to get Kathleen? She said, oh, sure, she can wait, she can wait. So,
And they were like, where's your pickup? I didn't dare tell them.
we could get on her for that as well. She was like me too when I played. She was just so positive, and she was that person to build you up. And when we played together, we were so busy chit-chatting and saying, oh gosh, that was the wind. That was this. You didn't get it because of this. We were always like making excuses for each other and trying to build each other up. She was one of those people. And I just want to say, like, I think about her all the time. I feel so lucky to have known her. The older we get, we realize life is short, time is precious. Surround yourself with people that build you up or make you feel good about yourself or add value to your life. And to me, that was Carol. She was that person. She was so positive and loving and non-judgmental, and I will remember her forever. And I feel so lucky to have known her.